Hey guys, Andrew here with Nashville Severe Weather. It's about 5:48 in the evening. We have a severe thunderstorm warning here for Williamson County. This is for a storm back to our southwest here that's over Hickman County right now, and the Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a warning for this, and it's pushing off to the northeast, which will include basically areas in Franklin back to the southwest. And so that will be those who were affected down toward Boston around 840 in Williamson County down back to the southwest of Franklin. So those are the folks that will be included in this warning. You can see the polygon there that includes basically Cool Springs back to the southwest. This storm down around Centerville has some pretty strong winds with it, and let's switch over to a different radar here. We're going to go over and look at velocities and get an idea for how strong the winds could be blowing there. Could be looking at winds up. Now, this is looking up at 5,000 feet. It's obviously a lot windier there, but winds could be up in the 60-mile-an-hour range up there, according to radar. And so this is the main hazard for this is 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. We've already seen some hail back to our southwest down around the Memphis area, and now radar even indicating that there could be some hail falling within this storm. And if it's anything like what we saw in Memphis a little bit earlier today, we did see some pretty decent-sized hail down there that was falling around Memphis and just east of Memphis. So hail definitely a possibility today. Radar here indicating, and this is totally an estimate, but radar indicating that we're looking at about 1 inch, maybe just over that. On the hail size. So could be some hail falling with this in the heaviest core. You see that there in the pinks and the reds, but especially those pinks there, could be some hail falling in there. In fact, it looks like this product here shows when things aren't necessarily the same. So like if you have a mixture of some rain, some hail, that kind of thing, it shows that. And looks like we could be seeing a little bit of hail in there. We see a little bit of a drop where things aren't as purple in this view here. It kind of goes down to the yellows. That means could be a little bit of mixed precip. In this case, it would be hail and rain. So that's pushing off to the northeast. Again, let's go back over and look at the polygon, a little bit of a clearer view here of the polygon, and that's going to be covering basically from Cool Springs back to the southwest. So that would include Franklin, it would include Boston, it would include Smarden and Greenbrier, and they're just south on the south end of Fairview. Doesn't include Brentwood, doesn't include Nolensville, and doesn't include Nashville yet. So Davidson County not included in this. However, as we always say, you're downstream of it. So once the storm pushes through Williamson County, the northeastern part of Williamson County and parts of Davidson County would be next. So we can't discount the fact that it could be there before too long. So this is, let me look up and see what the Weather Service is saying. A couple of notes here since we've been on here. Large hail and damaging winds are becoming increasingly likely with the storm that's down there in Hickman County now. It'll track over areas between Centerville and Hohenwald, then towards Duck River, Williamsport, Leapers Fork, and Franklin areas. So those are the areas we're looking at here and the areas that are within this yellow polygon that you see here for the severe thunderstorm warning. So if you're just joining us, severe thunderstorm warning here for southwestern Williamson County, basically Cool Springs back to the southwest. You don't want to be outside in this, and there could be a little bit of a hail threat. So if you have a few minutes and want to get your car in the basement or in the garage, something like that, not a bad idea. So it looks like a tornado watch coming out too. Odds are that will not include us. That watch probably will be just south of us, but we'll just have to see here in just a second. But it looks like the Storm Prediction Center issuing a tornado watch for parts of Middle Tennessee. We're just going to have to see here in just a second who all that includes. But for now, our main concern is this severe thunderstorm back to our southwest in Hickman County now, but it includes parts of Williamson County. So let's go back over and we're going to look at velocities. In fact, I'm going to switch over. Let's switch over even again to a different radar. This is TBNA radar. You hear us talk about that shoots out of Nolensville, and we're looking at down here at the storm. And yeah, winds up in the 3,000 foot range are up in the 57, 58 mile an hour range there. Being measured at about 3,000 feet above the ground level there. And so that's definitely enough to blow some things around. And that is in the storm down just south of Centerville, which is right now between Centerville and Hohenwald. And that'll push through northeastern Hickman or eastern Hickman County and then eventually up into Williamson County here in just a minute. So let's back out just a minute and kind of get an idea of what all's going on. Y'all have had a lot of questions over on Twitter for us, and so let's kind of back out and show you what's going on. A lot to look at here. Some showers up around Robertson County and Sumner County, some storms earlier up there. There's a boundary that has set up because of those storms. There is a boundary, we're calling it kind of the warm front here, that is sitting right at about where Brentwood and Cool Springs are here in Williamson County. And that's running it like an east-west boundary, okay? These storms are kind of riding along that and maybe just south of it, where the air is still very warm, all right? It's very cool up in Nashville and to the north. It's still pretty warm down in Williamson County, especially the southern parts of Williamson County, and you know, down to the south. David says over on Twitter, I'm just now looking at this, tornado watch that was issued does include Williamson County. It does not include Davidson County. This is a tornado watch, not a warning. Okay, so this is a watch, not a warning for this tornado watch coming out here. That's in effect until 1 a.m. And so we'll keep an eye on that. But David's over there taking care of that on Twitter right now while we are here for this severe thunderstorm warning. Let's put this in motion here and see where this is going. And you can see here the kind of the trajectory of the storm as it has passed out of Perry County into Hickman County and now is moving into Williamson County. Let's talk about the warning itself. It's a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect until 6:30, so about another 35 minutes on this one, and it's a storm moving northeast at 70 miles an hour. And some of you asked a little bit earlier if that's unusual. It is a little unusual, but we've seen it plenty of times. These storms, especially this time of year, just racing off to the northeast. And so winds gusting to 60 miles an hour possible there in quarter-size hail. They're anywhere in the severe thunderstorm warning that is there. So let's get a kind of a better idea of where exactly that is. You can see on the map here where it is. So it covers the Greenbrier area down in southwestern Williamson County, pretty rural but beautiful area out there in southwestern Williamson County. It covers Greenbrier, covers the south side of Fairview. There's a community down here called Smarden down in just south of 840. It covers them. Bethesda would be over here. It does not include Bethesda, but Thompson Station is included there, and Keystone, Sullivan Farms, and Franklin all the way up in there to Cool Springs. So those are the parts of Williamson County that are included in the warning. The storm, even though it's down in Hickman County, it's racing to the northeast. So it's moving at about 70 miles an hour off to the northeast. So imagine, you know, kind of driving down the interstate. It doesn't take all that long to get from Hickman County into Williamson County if you're doing 70 miles an hour with no obstructions. So it doesn't take too long to get up here. So even though it's a little bit of a ways down here back to our southwest, it'll be here pretty quickly. And right now the biggest threat looks to be, again, looking at some 1-inch hail possibilities, checking that out on radar here. Radar estimating that hail could be 1 inch, which is quarter size, or maybe just a slight bit larger than that, coming through now just south of Centerville. So, in fact, going over here to, this is our correlation coefficient product on radar. Basically what this shows is if there's a mixture of objects in the air. So, you know, it's not all rain, it's not all snow, it's not all, you know, so it measures the differences up there. And without going into too much of that, you see these kind of oranges and yellows here. It tells me that there could be a little bit of hail up there in that storm, because there could be a mixture of hail and rain up there in these heaviest returns along Bond Road there in Hickman County. So that's moving to the northeast. That's why we have the warning. So this will have a lot of lightning with it. Take a look at the winds. Yeah, still some pretty gusty winds there up. This is looking at about 4,000 feet, looking at about 58 miles an hour. So it could be pretty gusty if those reach the surface, if those strong winds reach the surface, which we've seen some pretty strong winds reach the surface today with some earlier round of storms up in the northern part of our area. Quite a bit, one thing to note here, quite a bit of these lightning strikes with this storm are what are called positive lightning strikes, okay? And these are somewhat rare. They happen with a lot of storms we get, but we don't get them as the dominant kind of lightning strike in most of our storms around here. But this time of year we can, and this time of year we can get some of these positive strikes, maybe a little bit more frequently. And these are the kind that will just be really, really loud. Okay, so they can really shake your house. It just feels like it's pretty loud. So some of these are positive. So don't be surprised if you hear some pretty loud thunder as this comes through, because these are some positive strikes down here in extreme southeastern Hickman County. I'm noticing that there. Hail size possibly ticking up just a tad. Let's go over to the hail view and kind of look where the hail core is in this storm. It looks like here in southeastern Hickman County, and then coming into western Murray County is where the heaviest of the hail is. And sometimes this can be a little bit displaced from where it actually is, but it gives us an idea of really where. See, I would put the hail more up maybe a little bit further north of where these colors are way down here. So sometimes this can be looking up in the upper parts of the storm, which can be a little bit further away from the main core. So the heaviest hail, I would think, would probably be up here somewhere near Highway 50 between Duck River and Centerville. There's probably some pretty good hail up there falling. But radar estimating a little bit over an inch in diameter, so could be quarter-size hail there. Weather Service is saying, in fact, just noticing their note over here, a very large hail core aloft with the warned storm in southeast Hickman County. So biggest threat will be large hail up to quarter size reaching the ground as it moves into western Murray. So there you go. That's a note from the Weather Service talking about that hail core. And again, quite a bit of lightning here, especially on the south side of the storm. And these are positive strikes. So again, that kind of confirms to me, actually, there's quite a bit of ice up in this storm, especially in the upper parts of the storm. It looks like it has a pretty icy core up at the top, which would produce these positive strikes. And I would bet that it is pretty loud down there around the Natchez Trace there, where it goes into southeastern Hickman County. It's probably pretty loud down there. Looking at velocities here, still possibly pretty windy down there. But the main threat, as the Weather Service notes, is going to be that large hail, possibly over the size of quarters, coming through there in the next few minutes, and then eventually making its way up to Williamson County. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. If I can get this to work here, we're going to do a track on this cell as it moves off to the northeast. Weather Service is saying this thing is moving at 70 miles an hour. So I'm going to kind of draw it about like this, and we're going to go off at 70 miles an hour through their warning here. That would put it somewhere around Cool Springs Mall at around 620. Again, these are estimates, okay? Do not take these as gospel. These are estimates. Downtown Franklin around 620. That'd be the Williamson County Fairgrounds, the Ag Center down there around 620 as well. Page High School around 625. Arrington around 627. Creve Hall around that time as well. I-65 Harding and Nolensville around 630. So that's what we're looking at as far as timing. It'll be in Boston here at around 10 after 6. All right, and it'll be entering Williamson County here in the next 5 or 6 minutes. All right, so that's an idea of the timing as this pushes to the northeast. Again, it's kind of like it's on the interstate, so if it's really going 70 miles an hour, it's going to move through pretty quick, all right? And zooming out here, we see that some more storms back here around Perry County and, west of Perry County, some more storms there. Pushing that way as well. But this is the strongest storm by far right now is this one around Duck River. Could have some pretty good hail with it. Okay, let me check the Weather Service again, see any more notes that they've dropped in, and not seeing any new notes. Okay, so let's sort of back up a little bit. And for those of you just joining us, I'm noticing we're getting some new viewers on here. Let me kind of back up a little bit and show you what's going on. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Williamson County. That's going to be until 6:30 tonight, and that's going to be for a storm that right now is around Duck River down in Hickman County, and it's pushing off to the northeast. And all indications are at the moment this is going to be a pretty decent little hailstorm here. So Weather Service now is they're going to continue that severe thunderstorm warning for us until 6:30. So indications are this could be a pretty decent little hail producer. Radar's indicating about 1.5 inch hail size. And this is radar indicated as far as the hail size there, but radar is estimating, could be 1.5 inches in diameter. Quarter size is 1 inch. All right, so could be quarter size or just a little bit better on the hail size as it moves up into Boston maybe scraping Spring Hill, maybe just off to the north toward Thompson Station. But Franklin, all the subdivisions to the west and to the south could be dealing with this as well. So if you got just a few minutes in Franklin, you may want to park your car in the garage, something like that, because this could be one of the better hail producers we've seen in a little while. If you've not seen quarter-size hail, this could be dropping that. All right, so we'll see. If we get some reports in on it. Now, let me tell you this: if you'd like to send us some reports, we would love to have your reports. As this comes through, do not put yourself in danger. Don't go out in the middle of a hailstorm and try to get a picture, because it hurts when you do that. But wait till you're safe. Wait till right after the storm or something. But let us know if you see something such as hail, if you see wind damage, anything like that. Let us know. Tweet, if you would, and use hashtag TSpotter, TSPOTTER, in your tweet. And if you have a picture, great. We would prefer, if you are sending us information about hail, that you let us know where you are, and that you compare the size of the hail to a coin. And that would be really helpful to us if you could do that. And we'll get that. Will's going to send that over to the Weather Service. If you send us that information, it's something they need. We'll get that over to the Weather Service so that they can make decisions on their warning process here. So, again, still seeing a lot of lightning, especially on the south end of the storm. We're seeing these positive strikes. These are loud, okay? So Leapers Creek Road and Turkey Creek Road and areas like that down in right around the Natchez Trace in Murray County, just getting a lot of lightning, okay? And possibly quite a bit of hail, too. Excuse me. Quite a bit of lightning there on the north side of the storm as well. Let's go take a look at velocities here. And tell you what we're going to do. We're going to switch over to this radar here. Wind doesn't seem to be the dominant threat with this at the moment. So your main part of your storm is right in here, and really not seeing a lot of very strong returns. Seeing, it could be 40, 50 mile an hour winds, but really not seeing the bright blues that we would expect to see in a real wind producer type of storm up here in northwestern Murray County. So it looks like the hail threat is going to be the biggest issue with this storm. So NEXRAD radar has another way of identifying storms, and it's saying the possibility of severe hail is 70%, which would be quarter size or larger. Possibility of hail, of any hail, would be 100%. So it's pretty sure that it's hailing underneath that. The radar is. But whether that's actually happening, you can't be for sure until you get some reports. Let's see. Weather Service, they are continuing the warning. I think we mentioned that till 6:30. So severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect till 6:30. The storm is just now entering Williamson County, and it's going to first be coming into Greenbrier. Looks like the strongest part of the storm is going to be right there around Smarden. And I'm going to zoom in here on a different radar. Gives us a little bit better view of where these areas are. So Greenbrier here's the Pinewood Road exit on 840, and here is Boston right here, Burwood. That's what I was trying to think of earlier, Burwood's down here, and we'll probably get the core of this storm as well. So it looks like the strongest part will go between the Pinewood Road exit and down there toward, let's see, that would be Carter's Creek Pike out in the Burwood area. And so so I think that's where the strongest of it would be. Let's see here. I'm going to attempt to, if I can find it here just a second. So that's where we're looking at the strongest weather right now. All right, let's go back over to this radar, and we're going to take a look at velocities again, because I do want to check and make sure we're not getting, we're not missing some wind threat here. Still some pretty strong winds up in the 50, 60 mile an hour range at about 3,000 feet. We're not really seeing that closer to the ground. This is a view a little bit closer to the ground, and we're just not seeing that much lower. That this is about halfway closer to the ground. This is about 1,500 feet up. And we're not seeing those bright blues. So hopefully maybe those winds aren't reaching the surface. Weather Service just dropped a note. Severe warned storm in eastern Hickman County continues to show a likelihood of large hail, possibly damaging winds. No reports yet, but they are noticing that the hail core is approaching Theta there in Hickman County, which is right here. You see that on the map. So that's where the strongest hail core is heading. And here's what we call reflectivity on radar. And it's very, very strong reflectivities here. I would not be surprised at all if there's hail falling along State Highway 7 that comes out of Columbia and goes up into Hickman County. Would not be surprised at all. That looks like a pretty classic hail signature there. In fact, it's very classic. Okay, this is actually this is a pretty definite hail core here crossing State Highway 7 there as you come out of Columbia. So that's going to be crossing Lewis Road there, a couple of roads there in Murray County, heading right toward Theta. So that's a pretty strong indication there that we see hail that is falling in this storm, and that's going to be pushing really up toward Burwood and Boston and Smarten, and maybe even over to Thompson Station, all right? So it looks like the strongest of the hail core could even be approaching Thompson Station here in a little bit. Let's see here. I was trying to get another radar to work here, but it's not. That's all right. We're good with what we've got. All right, so we can see exactly what we need to see with this one. So there's your new updated picture as the hail core approaches Theta. And again, a very classic hail signature here around Theta. And so it looks like there's going to be a pretty decent hailstorm. If the storm maintains its intensity or strengthens, looks like it could be a pretty decent hailstorm come into the Burwood area and Thompson Station, and maybe even cross north of 840 if it holds together. 840, excuse me. So we'll just have to see if it holds together. But right now, indications are it is. Radar indicating that hail could be north of Quarters there in northern Murray County, pushing into the Burwood area here in just a little bit. Weather Service is talking about a different storm now, another one we're watching in western Dixon County, and hail the biggest threat there, and they have a significant weather advisory out for it. That's up in western Dixon County, and so we're going to be watching it. Doesn't have a warning with it right now, but the Weather Service is watching it because it doesn't look a whole lot different than this one down here that has the warning on it and coming up in our area. So it looks like we're going to keep an eye on this one. It could affect Davidson County a little bit later, and it probably would be Joelton and to the north, so maybe just clip the northern part of Davidson County here in just a little bit. So for right now, our focus is the severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for another 20 minutes or so for Williamson County. That's for a severe storm coming into the Boston area that is going to be crossing 840 here in just a little bit. And the strongest of the hail core looks to be around Theta down there in Murray County, which is just over the county line from Williamson County. So right down there around Burwood, Smarten, Boston, Thompson Station, up to the Keystone neighborhood, up toward Franklin, and eventually, even I-65 and 840 up toward Ladd Park and all that. So, if you're in southern Williamson County, keep an eye on this. That purple area right there is pretty mean. All right, it's going to have some hail in it. Yeah, again, it looks to me that this view right here showing the hail sizes is displaced down to the south a little bit. All right, I think the hail is falling actually up here just to the north of it in the purple area. Okay, I think that's probably where the hail is actually falling to the ground, is up there just west of Theta. So watch the purple area. That's where you're going to want to be watching for the hail to move through. And again, I'll just remind you, Thompson Station, Boston, northern parts of Spring Hill, there's your updated picture here. And there's this core that is about 2 or 3 miles wide. And that's, to me, where it looks like the heaviest of the hail is going to fall. And David's over on Twitter just checking to see what he's saying there. And he says this is a for sure hail. For sure hail is falling close to Thompson Station near Indy High School. Yeah, so exactly. So Weather Service is continuing the severe thunderstorm warning. I'm looking at their notes over here as well. They're going to continue the warning till 6:30. And mostly the most severe part of the storm is going to be kind of on the southern end of it. over toward Thompson Station, Boston, Smarten, and up eventually toward I-65 south of Franklin. So where you see the purples is going to be the area that you're going to get probably the heaviest hail. All right, so radar still estimating that hail could be the size of quarters or a little larger as it comes into the western parts of Thompson Station around Burwood. And that's going to be, that just doesn't look like it's going to be fun to be underneath. So it looks like it's going to be not a lot of fun. So definitely a hailstorm possible in there, and in fact, it's probable. Okay, let's back out just a little bit. We mentioned another storm that we're going to be watching very closely. This is a smaller storm, but could have a hail core with it over in Dixon. That's going to be north of Dixon up towards Charlotte, and that's going to be moving northeast. Could clip northern Davidson County here in an hour or so, maybe a little less. These things are flying to the east, so we're watching that as well. Could be some hail underneath it. It has a significant weather advisory out right now with that storm, and could be dropping some pea-sized hail, maybe a little bit bigger. We'll watch and see if that grows as it moves off to the northeast. All right, still main storm down here around Theta, moving into Burwood, and that's going to be Burwood, Keystone, Henpeck Lane, Sullivan Farms, Ladd Park, Trinity Park, Burke Hollow, and south of Nolensville before 7. All right, so that's what David said over there on Twitter. Hey, we'd love you to be watching out for hail. If you see hail, don't go out in it. It's going to hurt. Don't do that. Plus, it's a dangerous storm. It's got lightning with it. It's a severe warned storm. You don't ever go out in those things. So I think you need, if you have a report to send us, be sure to do that, and we would love to know about what you're seeing out there. If you see hail, compare it to the size of a coin and tweet us using hashtag #TSpotter, and that will help us tremendously. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Here in just a second, this storm's coming into Williamson County. We're actually going to do a little bit of a shuffle, and we're going to hand off here for a little bit. David is going to jump on and start another YouTube Live. So he will do that here in just a few minutes. And so let me kind of talk out ahead of this storm for just a second, and then we're going to do a little handoff here internally. David's going to take a YouTube Live here in just a second, but we'll continue tweeting as well. And then, so just hang with us. There'll be another link for you to jump on YouTube Live. So again, if you are around the western sides of Thompson Station, the northern sides of Thompson Station, decent hailstorm moving through there that has now entered Williamson County and is pushing off to the northeast, and we'll pick back up on YouTube Live here in just a minute. But for now, we're going to end this one. Look for David here in just a few minutes.